All right, we'll go in 3, 2, 1.
And welcome back, everybody, to WTL. Where's the Line? I'm your host, Andy Klassen, joined by
Gibran.
Oh, the Parlay Pounder.
You got it.
Oh, and spring is in the air.
Yeah.
And we're done with the preseason. We're done with the World Baseball Classic.
Yep.
It's opening day.
It's opening day.
And I think every single team is at Major League Baseball. They're actually trying to do some marketing here.
Yeah, it looks like a fun season ahead of us. It looks like they're trying to do a little more to bring in younger fans, keep the game going a little bit more high pace, take away the shift kind of stuff. It looks like it's going to be a real fun year.
Yeah, more interleague game plays, all that stuff is starting to happen. And we brought in a friend of the program. Yeah. We had him on last year, talk a little fantasy baseball, among other things. Matt Plotchik. Matt, how you doing?
I'm good. How you doing, boys?
Very well.
We are off and running. Talked a little Final Four. Now it's time to talk about the show.
Yeah.
Major League Baseball. And we always like to talk some local teams.
Yeah.
And wouldn't you know it, your Minnesota Twins
are
taking on Matt's Royals.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, buddy.
In Kansas City. 3:10, I believe. 3:10 is the first pitch.
Yeah.
And the Twins are a 1.5 run favorite.
Yeah.
Let's let Matt dial that up. Matt, where are you at with that 1.5 point favorite there?
Well, it's going to come down to really, will the Royals offense show up?
Yeah.
A lot of young talent there. You know, Bobby Wood Jr. is your main catalyst right there. But there's got to be more of a supporting cast behind that. You know, Sal Perez, veteran leader.
Yeah.
But will some of the youth really step up there to help propel an offense against, a pretty salty Minnesota Twins team that, came pretty dang close last year. They're probably out for some revenge this year.
Yeah, they added some pitching, didn't they,
Yeah,
Ron?
exactly. That's what I was going to start off with is Pablo Lopez. He's our brand new shiny toy. He'll take the mound for the Twins in what will be his first start as a Minnesota Twin after coming from the Marlins last season. He'll face off against a Royal great, Zach Greinke of the Royals, who looked to build on his 2022 campaign in which he finished with a 3.68 ERA, which was pretty dang good for an older guy.
Right. I mean, the thing about Greinke, though, and we were talking about it before.
Yeah.
He is not no spring chicken. He's not the 21-year-old guy that came
this
up.
This is his second time around with the Royals, right?
This is the second time around. And if you want to get contractually accurate, this is number 3. He signed a year agreement 2 years in a row. So he's going to induce a lot of ground balls. That's the big thing that Greinke's doing now. When you're putting all your eggs in the basket with a 39-year-old, there's something missing there. I'm not too highly confident in the Royals to getting the job done tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly. And Pablo Lopez may be one of the most underrated pitchers in my mind in the MLB, which made him one of the best offseason acquirements for the Twins. He has had a sub-4 ERA in 3 straight seasons and now gets to bolster a Twins rotation that needed plenty of help last year. But the Twins have significantly offensive advantage tomorrow against the Royals. They outrank them 11th to 24 in OPS last season. I expected Minnesota is just far superior with the big bats of Correa, Buxton, Miranda, just to name a few.
And we'll talk about it later on here, but I think the Twins can make some noise in that division.
Yeah, no doubt.
I'm not so sure about your Royals there, though, Matty.
I think they're going to be a little bit better than where they were last year. I mean, there is the youth movement.
I think Bobby Witt's going to bounce back. And not that he had a bad year last year, but I think he's got a lot of good value as far as fantasy goes.
Oh, yeah, totally. He is the 5-tool guy. He brought in 295, 20 homers, 90 RBI last year.
Yeah, he had a good year, and people were still dogging him.
Because he's expected to come in and be the all player, the all-century player he's supposed to be George Brett from day one. Everybody has to love Bobby Witt Jr., but you're saying, are they surrounding him with enough right now to make this team, a contributor, somebody that can go after the Central and kind of compete with the Indians, the Guardians, and the Twins.
The Guardians, yes. The Wahoo Guardians.
Right.
We'll say.
But if I just want to get this out of them, if we're looking right now, it's a -110 bet for 68.5 wins for the Kansas City Royals. Does that happen, or is that pretty well right on?
I think you can probably take the over on that.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Really?
Honestly.
Oh, man. I think we got some Homer speak going on here.
And I was going to jump on this with him. I think it's one of the better bets of the teams that I've seen with the 68.5. That is so low, especially going in the American League Central where we will drop games to them. I know the White Sox will. And, the Guardians will drop at least 2 games, it seems, every series to one of the Central teams.
That's a watered-down argument now.
Yeah.
That divisional thing, now that the schedule's been readjusted, this fair play schedule. Right. So you're only having 13 games against division rivals, 52 games total, where last year was 76 total, 19.
Okay.
So I don't see – maybe it will help the Royals out, but I'm looking at now the Royals got to go play the Tampa Bay Rays or the Yankees, rather than getting squared up with maybe someone that you would expect them to compete with that they know in Minneapolis. So
the Tigers.
But the Tigers, I mean, I'm going to give you that. They're going to beat the Tigers.
They should. I mean, Tigers probably, 65, I'm guessing?
They're right at the same line, 68.5.
68.
Yeah, So I think the Royals are right on the brink. They're like, does this help them or does this maybe hurt them? I think that there's a little bit to be seen, but I kind of like the idea that it's not so contingent now on your division.
Yeah.
I
like that as well.
It's rewarding, and it's letting the fans see more games that they want to see.
Yeah, that's big time.
I think that's a good thing. Should we move on to the second game that we want to talk about?
Let's do it.
Another local team. We have a lot of Colorado Rocky fans out there. Not so sure how their season's going to – but that's why you play the games, Matt.
Yeah, exactly.
They're squaring off with San Diego. Same time, 3:10 first pitch out in San Diego, and the Padres are a 1.5-run favorite. Matt, how do you see this one?
Padres are covering this easy.
Yeah.
Their offense.
You're not even messing around?
No. Their offense is electric.
Yeah.
It starts with Manny Machado. They acquired Juan Soto at the trade deadline last year.
Yeah, that was brutal.
He is due for a bounce back. Their offense, not just, all the supporting pieces around them, just so electric. Electric. You gotta go with them.
I agree. And the -1.5 run line right now, Andy, is at a +105 for the San Diego Padres. That is plus money on what I think is going. They're going to beat them by 3 or 4 runs in my mind.
What's the over/under on? Is that still like at 7 or something?
7.5, and I really like that as well.
Yeah.
7.5. Take that over. I really think the Padres might score 6 runs by themselves. So if the Rockies can get a homer or with somebody on base, they'll cover that easily. No, the Padres once again coming to the season with high hopes of both an NL West title and a World Series. Like you were just saying, they stacked up. They got some of the best players in the major league, and
I like their pitching staff too.
Exactly.
I mean, they're solid.
Yeah. In Colorado, on the other spectrum, they're in full rebuild mode. They're full rebuild.
They're so bad. It's like, what are you even building?
Like they've been building it since Larry Walker walked out of town. So
I'm just Colorado.
It's bad. No, Padres 6-3 tomorrow for sure.
6-3. All right. Well, I wanted to dive into a little bit of fantasy because, Matt, you're a fantasy guru.
Yeah.
And, Jared, you took down your league last year as well. I think I'm sitting across from a couple of champions.
There you go.
Last year.
Yeah.
How many first-round picks do the Padres have on their starting roster?
A lot.
I mean, how many guys do they have on that roster that you could take in the first round and people wouldn't look at you cross-eyed?
I would say at least 2. I mean, I named them right off the bat with Manny Machado, Juan Soto.
Yeah.
Another name I did not pull up that would probably be in the top 5, Xander Bogaerts.
Yeah, for sure. And then you can't forget about Fernando Tatis Jr. as well, even though he can't play till the 20th of April. So everybody was kind of backing out on him, but I still took a flyer on him because I think he's going to come back with a vengeance and just take the league by storm like he was supposed to 2 years ago.
And what was that, Zany? How did he got caught for something?
He's juicing.
It was a juicing.
Yeah, and so they just kind of slapped him on the wrist and said X amount of games he's sitting out. How did that all go down?
A full season, I believe.
I believe it might have been, yeah.
Just a full season, so he has to serve the other half of it starting this year.
Right.
That's how it all went down?
Yep.
So
I think it was right out of the gates last year, around game 8 or 9 that they hit him with it, and now it's the same thing this year. He'll have to sit out the first 8 or 9 games, and then he's good to go. So I really think he's one of the best. One guy that I'm looking at for the San Diego Padres is this Trent Grisham. He's a little bit of a sleeper for me, Andy.
Okay.
There's no denying that the 2022 was a season to forget for Grisham as he slashed, 340, 184, 284, 341 across 152 games. So that's not bad, but he's going to be an everyday player for him that's going to be asked to make some big hits in between those, those bombers. So I really like Trent Grisham as a sleeper, as an everyday player, and, they got to keep him out of there, keep him in there because of how good he is defensively.
Those everyday players, they come up huge down the stretch if you're talking fantasy.
Yeah.
You need a guy to plug in or a guy you can rely on.
Yep.
Midweek games and all that stuff. I like that a lot. And it always helps to bat in front of or behind
no doubt.
Machado or Soto. That always kind of helps the average.
No doubt.
Just a little bit.
Yeah, no, I like that guy. And then on the other spectrum, Andy, this is a guy to stay away from in my mind.
Okay.
Chris Bryant of the Colorado Rockies. Lingering back issues. He played just 42 games for the Rockies last season due to his back injury. And, the back stiffness has already reemerged in spring training this year.
Oh, jeez.
A gamble on Bryant could pay off, but I just think there's other talented outfielders available near his average draft position, like Nick Castellanos or Taylor Ward.
Right.
So I would stay away from Chris Bryant at all costs.
Totally.
All right. I'll make note of that. Matt, you got a sleeper you like?
It's hard to pick someone from the Colorado Rockies.
Yeah.
However, if you find them in the right time on their homestands, their offense does flourish in that thin air.
Yeah.
C.J. Cron,
There you go.
first baseman, came out of nowhere last year, hit 29 home runs for him, served up a good solid 272 batting average, somewhere around in that ballpark.
Yeah.
He's someone that really got the offense going for him where there wasn't really much of an opportunity for anybody. So,
No, he's a late round first baseman that's going to pack the power punch for you. So I really like that as a pick.
All right, well, let's take a quick minute to recognize one of our fabulous partners, and that is the Stock and Rod Company. From hunting to fishing to everything in between, created for the outdoorsman whose love for adventure means it's always time to get their wild game on. Check them out at stockandrod.com. Don't go anywhere. This is WTL.